Hi everyone, welcome back to the episode recommending my top 50 good romance books out of the over 300 I've read. In case you're new here, hi, my name is Laura. If you missed the previous episodes, I will link them down below. I have a lot of variety today. I have age gaps, I have enemies to lovers, villain, hero, kind of opposite attractive stories, I have danmei. So many books I'm really excited to tell you about. So with a further introduction, let's start. In the top 26 we have Elkin, which is a series by N.R.Walker. The first book is Elements of Retrofit. I love the series. I mean, I love a lot of books by N.R.Walker. If you have been following the series, you already know about this author. I cannot stop talking about her. She writes really light-hearted books. So she has some books that are kind of more action-packed, but most of them are really light-hearted. In this case, it's kind of interesting because it's an age gap romance, and I hate age gap romances. Especially, I hate the trope best friend's dad, which is the trope that happens in this book. So we are following Elkin, who is a 44-year-old man. He's an architect. He came out as gay when he was 41, I think. So he divorced his wife and he has a son who has a best friend. And this best friend is 22, happens to also be an architect. They are going to be working on the same firm. They are going to kind of start talking with each other, realize that they have a lot of chemistry, but they are kind of different generations. What I really love about this book is that the age gap was kind of an obstacle for them instead of kind of a king. I fell in love with them. I fell in love with them as a couple. I just could see why they needed to be with each other, because nobody understood them the way they understood each other. So it makes sense for me. But maybe if you like age gaps, you don't like the fact that the age gap is kind of put as an obstacle for the relationship, because you actually enjoy those dynamics. There are 3 novellas. It's a series of 3 books, but they are technically novellas. I read them all in one sitting. I would recommend if you like N.R.Walker and light-hearted books where you can actually see people who feel real and who have real connections that you are going to see and be like, oh, I wish I was them. The next book is a danmei book. It's 1000 Atoms. This is volume 4. There are 5 volumes in total. It's a complete series. This is a villain hero story. So we are following Meng Xi Shi, who is the demonic sect leader. He has morals that are basically, I'm going to do whatever suits me, but he is kind of walking around with his apprentice, and they found Shen Xiao very injured. And Shen Xiao is from a Daoist cult, so he's kind of, everyone is good and we are kind of respecting everyone and all of that. So their morals are completely different. Meng Xi Shi basically decided to save Shen Xiao and kind of convince him that he's actually part of the demonic cultivation cult, because Shen Xiao doesn't remember part of his life. He also lost a lot of his powers. They have opposite views of the world, but they really respect each other because they are both very powerful. Meng Xi Shi in part saved him because he wants to have an opponent, because he's so powerful that sometimes it's very hard to find a rival. The romance is very in the background. It's very slow, but I feel like it's steady. It's always there because you're seeing them interact with each other. At the beginning they just respect each other, but the more they talk with each other, the more they care for each other. Even though Meng Xi Shi is a very bad person. He's awful. I don't know how Shen Xiao endures being with him, but if you like this kind of villain heroes, I will highly recommend it. I don't think I was really into villains until I read 1000 Atoms. Meng Xi Shi is the best. The way he moves, the way he acts, the way he talks, everything about him is just so sexy. The next book is kind of a me thing. It's called Getting Friendly, and it's the typical light-hearted fun book. Most of my friends don't understand why I love this one so much, but for me this is a comfort book, okay? So take my opinion with a grain of salt. The plot of this book is very simple. You are following August. He is working for his dad as a construction worker, but he kind of wants to be independent. He tries to get a job in this other construction business. The boss of this company is Leo, who is the love interest. When August appears in the interview, Leo feels like he's kind of small, so he's like, I don't think this person is able to actually do construction work, even though his resume is great. He ends up saying no to him, and they ended up meeting in this gay bar by chance. They start talking, they realize that they are actually into each other, but August gets extremely drunk, so they don't do anything. After talking with August for all these hours, Leo offers August the job. That means that they are not going to be doing anything because August now is his employee, so they are going to have to work together, but they can only be friends. The thing I love the most about this book is August's point of view. You know, when you have these point of views where you just love following his train of thoughts, the way they see life and just the humor brings you so much happiness. I loved so much reading this book. I adore following August. Like, in fact, I finished this book and I reread it the same day because I was so obsessed with this point of view. The plot of this book, again, is extremely simple. Like, this is the whole plot of this book. If you are looking for something fun and lighthearted, I will highly recommend it, but please don't expect something extremely original or new or anything. Getting Friendly is just a comfort romance, okay? But one I really like. The next one is the complete opposite. This book is a complete masterpiece. It has one of the highest average ratings on GoodReads I've ever seen, and it's called Names for the Door. This book is written by the same author as my favorite romance standalone, which is the same alone. Names for the Door follows a transgender man. He lives in the middle of nowhere in a cabin, and he works during the summer in a national park. I think it was in Canada. You are following the romance as much as you're following the main character, Will. It's a lot about his feelings and his story being a transgender man in the 80s. It wasn't easy. I mean, it's still not easy, but back then was even harder to be a trans man. That's why he's living in the middle of nowhere, because he doesn't want to have any kind of problems. And suddenly this person who works with wolves and animals appears in this national park and they fall in love. The love interest, Nikhil, is from India and his family wants him to marry a girl. He's not out for his family. He just doesn't feel like he can pursue this gay relationship. It's a book that is very heartbreaking. It hurt a lot reading it, but I feel it's not really depressing because Will, he knows who he is and he has made peace with it. And it's something really beautiful to see someone who has gone through so much and finally he's like, this is me. It's okay if I cannot be with Nikhil after all, because at least I've discovered what love feels like, and that's something I thought I could never have. So it's just such a beautiful writing book. I mean, this book has a 4.56 average rating on GoodReads. People are not messing around. Like, this book is so wonderful. And the other thing I love about this book is that it feels like I'm immersed. You know, these books that you're reading them and it's like, it's impossible that this is fiction. Like, it feels so real. And when I got to the end of this book, I read about the author section and I realized that it was the same section more or less than in the CM Alone, which was his debut book, but he was using his pronouns. And I kind of freaked out because I was kind of sure that this author used she, her pronouns in about the author section in the CM Alone. So I went check that and yes, there were different pronouns. So kind of do my own research, and turns out that this author, while he was writing this book, he realizes that he felt the same way as Will. So he transitioned while writing this book, which I think is why this book felt so real. He was telling us what he was actually dealing with. I feel every time authors go through something similar to the characters they are writing about, it shows. If you have never read about trans representation before, I will highly recommend this book to start. It was actually my first time reading a romance where one of the main characters was a trans man, and I really enjoyed it. So Names for the Door for you, a masterpiece. And the last book is actually another case of this might not be the book, this might be me, because it's a book about ice skating. It's called Kiss and Cry. I have just watched Yuri on Ice. I love ice skating, and there was a hollow on my heart because I wanted more of Yuri on Ice. I mean, if you have watched that anime, you probably want something similar to that. I mean, we only wanted another season, or just the movie. To be fair, I wanted another season of them, but we were going to have a movie and we ended up not having anything. So in case you don't know about Yuri on Ice, you should really watch that anime if you like ice skating and gay romance, even though the romance is kind of very on the background, but it's there, you can see it. So anyway, I was in that point of life where I was mourning Yuri on Ice, and I found this book and I fell a little in love. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it if you don't like ice skating, because there is a lot about training and competitions and stuff. You are following Theo and Henry, and they are kind of the top ice skaters in the world. They are complete opposites. Henry is very cool, he is really hardworking, keeps it all for himself. He's gay, but he's not out. Henry doesn't like Theo because Theo is kind of the complete opposite of him. Theo doesn't take ice skating as seriously as Henry does, but he has so much talent that he kind of compensates for it. Theo is the kind of sunshine character, he's all the time smiling and laughing, so it feels like everything is going great for him, but he's actually really hurting on the inside. His mom is extremely controlling and his coach is dying. He actually has to go to work work with Henry's coach, Henry kind of realizes that Theo is actually not a bad person, so he goes from hating him to actually wanting to be his friend. So it's kind of categorized as an enemies to lovers, but that's just the beginning. It ends up being more of a friends to lovers. I love both of them. I have this very clear image of them, even though I have read this book so long ago. I think that just shows how much you love a book. So in case you like ice skating and just this kind of an opposite attract kind of vibe, I will highly recommend Kiss and Cry. But if you don't love ice skating, maybe you are not going to appreciate it that much. So that was my last recommendation for this video. If you don't want to miss the next recommendations, you can subscribe if you haven't. Give a like if you enjoyed this. It helps me knowing that you enjoyed these videos and it just makes me happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video.